Hush. Hush is another of the monsters with a human origin, as in someone who was born human, lived a regular life, and somehow ended up transforming into a creature. Human origin monsters run the gambit from being completely harmless to completely deadly to normal humans. Hush itself is mostly harmless, as in it doesn't actively hurt humans or even have malicious behavior towards them. But Hush isn't completely innocent, primarily because of its main ability. It can silence a person who it hushes. When it appears, it tends to do so in an empty seat in the back row of a theatre during a film. It will sit and enjoy the movie it snuck in on, but if it hears someone speaking, it will give them a warning. Hush will loudly cough and clear its throat, the universal signal that somebody is speaking too loudly in a theatre. If the person it warned keeps speaking, it'll try again. It'll actually speak to them from the row behind. Hush will politely ask them to be silent, and it's best to pay heed. Another unusual effect of Hush is the lack of reaction from theatre patrons upon seeing its monstrous features. They don't act like they've just seen a massive monster, one with a leathery, distorted face and sharp teeth. They tend to interact with it as though it's another human, with no disturbance or fear at all. Back to Hush's warnings. If a person ignores the second warning, they will not get another. After a third instance of speaking, Hush will actually hush the person, sealing their voice and preventing them from making any noise. They won't be able to speak after that, or make any noise, even when interacting with an object. Smacking a hand into a chair or even using a cell phone won't produce any noise at all. After that, Hush will peacefully watch the rest of the movie, ignoring the person who may be freaking out after losing the ability to make a sound. They are fortunate in that the effect is temporary. Hush's silencing only tends to last until the movie is over, fading away as the credits roll on screen. As the lights come on in the theatre, Hush will also vanish, reappearing in a different theatre in a different part of the country to see a movie it hasn't seen before. Sometimes the silence effect on a person will linger. The longest on record is 3 days. Interviewing that person and the theatre staff revealed that they were actually being pretty loud and obnoxious during the movie. In the case of the person who was muted for 3 days, they ignored all of Hush's warnings and started throwing popcorn at other patrons, asking them to be quiet, Hush included. It was probably meant to teach a lesson, which it certainly did, as it caused the person to forever change their movie-going behaviour. Hush will occasionally re-watch favourite movies, and, as it doesn't hurt people in general, only teach them not to talk during a movie, the agency has decided that a hands-off approach is best. The agency decided to approach the various theatre owners to give them a heads up about Hush, since its monstrous features show up clearly on security footage. The idea was to come to an agreement that Hush should be left alone, certainly not attacked, and not reveal his existence to the populace. The agents assigned to Hush's case were surprised to find that the theatre owners already knew about Hush. In fact, they knew about Hush for far longer than the agency did. The general consensus was that they didn't mind. In fact, many approved of the fact that it kept their theatres quiet. They also have a policy of giving Hush free concessions when they do catch it on security cameras, especially as they know that Hush will actively protect moviegoers from more dangerous elements. One owner forwarded security footage to the agency with one such example. There had been an incident in the 90s when someone had brought an assault rifle to the theatre. They had planned to go from movie to movie and shoot as many people as possible. The patrons of the first movie the gunman entered were lucky enough that it was a theatre they shared with Hush. The gunman got Hush's attention immediately, and it instantly took action, grabbing him by the head and lifting him casually with seemingly no effort. It stripped him of the gun and ate the weapon before his terrified eyes. Silencing him for good measure, Hush carried him to the exit and pushed the stunned man out of the theatre. The man screamed a silent scream and ran from the scene in tears. No one in the audience noticed the man coming in. They were watching the movie. Hush resumed his seat and made an odd expression that resembled a pout. The would-be shooter was later located and arrested for illegal gun ownership. In the course of his arrest, authorities discovered his plans to assault the movie theatre and kill those inside. At the time, the agency didn't know about Hush, but the film industry has enough influence on its own. The gunman was found guilty at trial and committed permanently to a mental institution due to being a danger to himself and others. his ranting about movie monsters that eat guns didn't help his case. Several similar incidents occurred over the years, but the general agreement is that the creature just wants to watch a movie and have a good time. Nobody is hurt, and in the case of emergency, Hush will defend moviegoers. The agency and the film industry agree. Let's keep Hush on hush.